One of the reasons this complex system survived for as long as it did is because so few people understand it. Before the late 1990s, buying a home looked something like this. Take our fictional homeowner, Bob. He finds a house, then borrows the money to pay for it from his local bank. Here's Bob's house. During the transaction, Bob receives a deed of trust to secure the mortgage and a note, his promise to pay it back. The deed of trust is a public record recorded with the county. The deed of trust and the original note are then locked for safekeeping in a vault at the bank. For the life of the loan, Bob makes his payments to the same bank. Should Bob find himself in financial trouble, any relief would come from there as well. Not anymore. Beginning in the late 1990s, the relationship between homeowners and lenders fundamentally changed with the advent of mortgage-backed securities. Instead of a local bank servicing a home loan for, say, a 30-year term, lenders sold those loans to Wall Street, which then packaged them and resold them to investors. It looks something like this. Bob the homeowner buys a house and again borrows the money to pay for it. But instead of his local bank, this time Bob gets a mortgage from a corporate lender, say Bank of America. Again, the corporate lender has the note, and the deed of trust is recorded with the county. But the similarities end there. In this example, the corporate lender, also known as the originator, sells Bob's loan on Wall Street. This coin represents Bob's loan. An entity known as a sponsor buys Bob's loan. The sponsor takes Bob's loan and pools it with thousands of others from all over the country. The sponsor sells the bundled loans to another corporate entity known as the depositor. The depositor works with a credit rating agency to get a letter grade for the bundle. A AAA rating tells investors the securities are a low risk. The depositor then transfers the rated loan pool into a trust. The trust sells certificates to individuals, companies, and large investment groups. That trust certificate is the mortgage-backed security. All along the way, each of these entities gets a cut. Everybody's making money. But perhaps more importantly, the lender has shifted the risk that maybe Bob doesn't pay off his loan and dumped it squarely on the investors. Bob is likely unaware that any of this has taken place. He pays his mortgage every month to a B of A servicer. Plus, if he looks his house up at the county recorder's office, it reflects that B of A holds his mortgage. However, again in the late 1990s, to circumvent the traditional recording process, mortgage bankers created the Mortgage Electronic Registration System, or MERS. It allows members to sell mortgages again and again without recording the transactions with the county. That saves them both time and money. Despite its complexity, all of this worked, up until the point that Bob defaults on his loan. To foreclose on Bob's house, a second servicer, known as the default servicer, steps in. The default servicer has to document all of these transactions to take Bob's house. When it realizes it can't, because in many cases no one kept track of the paperwork, the default servicer then begins to recreate the legally required paper trail, often through an illegal process known as robo-signing.